set up the camera for macro pictures, I recommend using the program mode. You'll need to set the macro function. You want to make sure the flash is turned off. For low light situations, you may need to increase the ISO. And as always, you'll need to set an appropriate white balance. Let's get started by setting the program mode. Turn the mode dial to P. Like the auto mode, the program mode sets the shutter speed and aperture for you, but allows you to set functions such as ISO and white balance. To turn on the macro function, press the macro button. It's the flower icon right over here, or the left navigation button, and use the control dial to move over to macro. Then press set or give it a second to go away. You want to make sure the flash is turned off for a couple reasons. Press the flash button or the right navigation button right here, and use the control dial as before to move around until the flash off icon is selected. Give it a second to go away or press set. The reason you don't want to use flash with macro scenes is because the flash is so close to the subject will turn out too bright. Also, because of the position of the flash, the lens might actually cast a shadow on your subject, and then half your picture will turn out very dark. Because you're not using the flash, you might need to increase the ISO. This really depends on how much light is in your scene. I would, however, start with the ISO set to auto and see if you need to increase it or not. The way you can tell is by pressing the shutter button halfway and seeing what the shutter speed is set to. If the shutter speed is slower than 1/30th of a second, then you'll need to increase the ISO. Otherwise, you should be fine. If you do need to set the ISO, you can do so via the function menu. Press the function button right here in the center, and the ISO is the top function. Use the control dial or the right and left navigation buttons to move the orange dash. I'll use the control dial to increase the ISO to 200. I can press set to escape the function menu, or if I want to set up the white balance, I'll go down to white balance. Then I'll use the control dial to choose the appropriate white balance. If you're outdoors in the sun, you can choose daylight. However, if you're in the shade or if it's a cloudy day, you should use cloudy. If this is an indoor picture and tungsten lights are being used, then you should set tungsten. I'm going to assume we're outdoors, so I'll set this to daylight. Press the function button to escape the function menu. And now we're ready to take the picture. The macro function is set, my flash is turned off, my ISO is set, and my white balance is properly set. With macro pictures, it's very important that you do not zoom into your subject. With the camera zoomed in, you will not be able to fill up as much of the frame with the subject. So zoom all the way back and physically step closer to the subject to be able to fill up more of the frame. Place the focusing square over the subject. Press the shutter button halfway to lock focus. If the focusing square turns green, it means the camera was able to lock a focus point. If it turned yellow, it means the camera was not able to lock a focus point and you might be too close to the subject. So release the shutter button, back up a little bit, press the shutter button halfway again to try and lock focus once again. Once the focusing square turns green, you know the subject is locked in focus. You can recompose the image and then press the shutter button the rest of the way to take the picture.